Lama dang gombo jin zin jambe yang shang za lo yin gang ge lun zhen zhen mian zhen zha yin dai nan da ra sa jin yan den gun jin xian zin zhi nian jian dong ga le ban zin gang dai zin de zhen rai ma zhi men doi dong ai gen se zhōn zhōi gōn lāi bōn jian dāng jī nian lāi zhōn jiu yang dēng sā zhōn zhāi zhēn zhōi nian mōi nian lāng ren jian jiang zhōi zhōn zī jī mā rī men zhēn dōng ai nian gō jin nian jian zhē rāng jī nāng da jö son jö ndra se yen den len zoi yan zen do jö dai jö nian yan zhe da le men se jan be yang lai de amara ba na de amara ba na de Amaram banza na ende senden genje jeroi wen sai jendo len den moe mbarasan randa enden je jong lo endo pai lon je bombe na wa sai do so nganze da wara den ba jong zen je waran den na gom bai jam yan de ne ne ge me bra ya tong wara sho wen zai ndor zen ga ra ba zen be mai je mai ni sho so so no nyan dren den jan ze so kan dre la mai nam la so in de wu yen zang ye nye be tun je sen dren jen run do jan ze gor Mandara Samye Institute den dren chuan jre lembe jalo so jambai jen lo be me nam bon dren jalo se la je yang se jo so ba gambai den den ben mai dong ali Zhang yang jen ze wang bo so de Kandre long jian bere nam bon zhun zhen jian nam ne xian da lam so je re men den zhen yan den jian zhen de lon zhen da ye xiao la so de wo men jian jian yan jian bo zhang so nian gen jie mo ma zhen jing gu mo so den ze ba sa ye la me zhao lo zo wa na ma de na ba yin na lo dan de jin jie zhong da dan mi ro an gen jie da ye jie zong ba dan jie ge zong da jie che den do 만남 가다니 베슨제 다 지지 트렌도 나나 메바양 바고 소베산디 제 방가 거브라 차베 체둘라 테네 나기 ngöndro 기초 데 아니 님버 차베 yin sambe kulonde ko kuyores.
So first of all, we need to give rise to the motivation, proper motivation, that we will listen to this teaching on the preliminary practices for the purpose of establishing all sentient beings equal in extent to space, who have all been our mothers on the precious state of perfect awakening.
네, 강식 샘버처럼 취해되네, 되네, 라메 tukdrup barché künsel ngöndro deres.
And the teaching that's being given today is the preliminary practices for the practice of accomplishing the Guru's wisdom mind, dispeller of all obstacles.
아디 라메 tukdrup barché künsel ngöndro 데 아니 첸장 main res. 배자든지 상마라 맹레레 구구요레 맹메나 되네 된도에라 빨리 가고 요레스.
So now we are talking about the title of the text, the title of the preliminary practice text, and this title is a name. It's a name for the text, and its names are actually quite important because if we don't know the name of something, it will be hard to understand it.
네, 다 대다고 천장대라 되네 파 예나 되네 천답에 불바당 천대매 봐서 니요레스 가장 아랑츠 시용기도 천대매 봐서 인데레스 생기 된다면 천답에 불바당 천대매 봐니.
So there's two topics that we can divide this explanation of the title into. There's the purpose for giving the title, and then the second one is the explanation of the meaning of the title. And this is what I was explaining last time, is the explanation of the meaning of the title. This is now finished.
천장대라 되네 천답에 불바디 칸에서나 아니 맹도 낙바라 마제나 와 타다 몽워주 대자와 답게베 천남 맹도 낙바르제 송레 아니 최된절라 맹리레 마다마 도와심지 된소데 몽바르주 그레스.
So as far as the first of these two topics relating to the title, the purpose of giving the text a title, there's a verse that goes, if names are not given, then sentient beings will become confused. Therefore, the victorious one has given names to all the various phenomena. So the meaning of this is that if we don't know the names of various phenomena, or if there's no names given to the various phenomena given to us as sentient beings, then we will become confused.
베나 베자샤나 나랑솔라양 밍레레 메나 되니 나랑소 이 가수오레 오바테바나시 아니 단답도 되게 말했어.
So for example, if each of us didn't have our own name, then when interacting with each other, it would be like a kind of a deaf-mute people trying to relate to each other, that we won't be able to get across any meaning to one another.
베나 마다불라 차샤바이나 네밍라 소남 tsering 요바도 진짜 시에송나 아다디 소남 tsering기 발라레 디 소남 tsering기 아마레스 랍두도와 하데 계랑기 소남 tsering 셰바도 똑 마도나 밍게 하모코나 다디 소남 tsering기 발라레스 랍싱이 말아봐.
For example, once you know that my name is the Sonam Tsering, then you will be able to say, with that knowledge, you'll be able to say, oh, this is Sonam Tsering's father, and this is Sonam Tsering's mother. If you don't know to begin with that my name is Sonam Tsering, then you will not know, you would not be able to say, this is Sonam Tsering's father, or this is Sonam Tsering's mother. The meaning would not be able to be there.
배낭 시인지는 최준하랑랑 주지 Lame Tukdrup Barché Künsel Ngöndro Ngauten Sache Ki Gemba Changju Choki Sabin Shechawa Shukso Sevekabla O Chudi Ani Dongani Ki Name Sangha Ki Chöredu Ani Sangha Ki Chö Name Jang Tine Ma Yoga Ki Chöredu Ma Yoga Ki Chö Name Jang Ma Yoga Ki Chö Nyamnen Tang Nyamnen Chegi Teingondru Ngöndro Redu Sene Tinde Hago Tukres Sen Yona Tinde Hago Tukres Sen Mena Tine Dinangla Chödi Karimba Shida Tunda Totumares.
So, for example, with our text that we're studying here, the seed, its title is The Seed of Supreme Enlightenment, the Liturgy for the Preliminary Practices Adorned with Clarifications. So if we, because we have this title, when we read that title, understand the title, then we'll be able to understand about the text. First of all, we can understand that it is a text that belongs to the Vajrayana, a tantric text. And then on top of that, not only we'll be able to understand it's a tantric text, but also that it is it is a Mahayoga. It is part of the Mahayoga class of tantric texts. And in addition to that, we will be able to understand that it is the preliminary practice of Mahayoga. Just from seeing the title of the text here, we'll be able to understand all of these points about the text.
Ming Yobatella, Santa Basra, Tanibadella Yovatella, Sendeme Bas, thinking Kazan Jawaka getting to General Sendeme Bas in the race, singing $10 to the Shijapa.
So, in the explanation of the name of the text or the title of the text, there are these two sections. What I just explained just now is the purpose or a need to have a title for the text, and that's the first of the two sections. And this second topic is the explanation of the meaning of the title. And this is what I have explained to you last time, going through each word of the title and explaining the meaning of each word.
Lame Tukdrup Barché Künsel Shebe Kablatne Lamati Tishi Japsarvares, Tukdrup Barché Künsel Diatine Tishi Kashish Shubares, Tukdrup Barché Künsel Logi de Mazutala Sariumares.
So last time I explained the meaning of the title of this text, going through word by word, and I finished explaining the meaning of the word lama, which is translated as the guru in the English translation of the title. And Tukdrup Barché Künsel, this I have explained only partially so far, explaining the history of the text. Is when I have this is as far as I've gotten in explaining this phrase Tukdrup Barché Künsel, which is translated into English as accomplishing the wisdom mind, dispeller of all obstacles.
네, 가장 공통점이 Guru Rinpoche 차이바데 되는 자고 추정되는 올라샤 차이바데 되는 이시소되는 올라샤 되는 Guru Rinpoche 어디 아니 자고 추정되지 세지 바라봐 어떻게 아니 Guru Rinpoche 가리송하게서 아주 버젤람세도 송하래 송하라 버젤람세도 남도 중이나 소득을 하지도 대송하래스.
So to get back to that history that's related to this part of the title, where we were at was that Guru Rinpoche was with his disciples, and he had put his right hand onto the head of the king Trisong Deltsen, and he had put his left hand onto the head of Yeshit Sogyal, the Dakini Yeshit Sogyal, and he touched his own head to the head of the middle prince of King Trishul, who is Murup Temple. And he then, after doing that, he taught them the Barché Lamsel's supplication, which is titled Dispelling Obstacles on the Path in English. He taught them that supplication, which is a supplication to the 12 manifestations of Guru Rinpoche.
네. 대답을 소대도 송 차를 제라 겨도 양결 자부트선 되는지 세 바로하기 네 갈수거래 켈라 솔라데 바기 솔데든데 자신부터 송화데 백가딘체 두지체 아니 양결 완솔라 갈수거래 대답을 그 솔데지 사중이라 때네 아니 촉망 두목 모두 말리바 드룹트바 된다기 드니 드탑 되네 된저 만절로 송로난 수슈레.
So Guru Rinpoche taught his disciples at this time this supplication to the 12 manifestations, to his 12 manifestations. And then again, the Prince Murup Sempo, then the middle prince Murup Sempo again requested to Guru Rinpoche, this is really amazing, it's really excellent, you taught us this supplication prayer. But now what we really want, what we really desire is a way to practice these 12 manifestations, a sadhana practice in order to put this material into practice.
네, 슈베캅라 Guru Rinpoche 기직직라 남도 주니 남도 주니 넘버 20 근데 그 넘버로 왕롱 틀어서 용수서 나오레스.
So after he made that request, then Guru Rinpoche instantly manifested the entire mandala, the entire set of his 12 manifestations to his disciples there, and he then gave them the entirety of the empowerments and transmissions and instructions on this practice.
네, 양 Rinpoche 기직질라 남도 주니 된저 양 수로 얻으시느랑 때문에 되니 주니 날로기 나와시와레스.
And after doing this, Guru Rinpoche again instantly reabsorbed all of those manifestations into himself, and then rested in the samadhi, in meditation.
네, 당아랑저 최대 중당 로지직 그래서 중화레스. 자우트선 기증기 슈병원의 로지직 중당직 빌레레스. 단도양 로지 심바스미양도 로지 심바스미 대전에 시라 신기하네스. 로지직 되거레스.
So this is the way that the history of this text, one history of this text goes, is that Guru Rinpoche was questioned by his disciples, the king, the prince, and Geshe Tsogyal, and so on. This teaching was requested from him by those disciples at the Samye. This is one instance. This is the history of one instance in which this teaching was taught, but there are 3 other times at which Guru Rinpoche taught this text, and but I will only give you this first one here. I don't know too much about the other 3.
간신나 가정공도 Tukdrup Barché Künsel 자친보레스. 자친보 인베 경쟁하려서 Guru Rinpoche 권한기 미zel라 팅마 시점 송하래라 송 쉬어라. 자우트종의 대생이 쉬병원라 직 컨트롤 시소대 쉬병원라 직 테네 투존즈게 세 바로 무릎좀보 쉬병원라 직 테네 공혈마 망유 공단기라도 미망지라 송바 찍이라. 근데 그들나가 시총 우려대 그룹에 근데 송 로지된 여러 신바도 되게 로지대 통화서.
So this is again why this text is so important, this practice is so important. It was taught a total of 4 times by Guru Rinpoche. The first time it was requested by King Trisong Gyaltsen, as I have taught you. And then the second time it was requested by Yeshe Tsogel, the Daikini Yeshe Tsogel. And the third time it was requested by the Prince Murup Tsembo. And the fourth time it was given to the general public at Gungtang Mangyul Latok. It was given at Gungtang Mangyul Latok to the general public, as I've explained before, but I've never come across. Oh, yeah, actually it's called the Mangyul Gungtang Latok, the name of the place where it was taught the 4th time to the general public. And I haven't ever come across telling a kind of text that tells the history of this text being taught at these 3 other occasions.
공기 사 남주 중이 제 대강라더니 오밤에 제레시 무루 호나양제 드니 바오 리실로서 받는데 요레스.
So as for the deities, in this practice, there are the 12 manifestations. Then there is the Amitabha or Amitayus, Avalokiteshvara, and Guru Rinpoche himself, those 3. And then there are the 4 dakas and the dakinis, 4 sets of dakas and dakinis.
실장기 드네 토둑데 드네 잘보기 방전하신 소아레스 잘보기 방전되나라 콜로지에 잘보기 방전하시레 소아레스 잘보기 방전나라 랑라카리 부거이나 탐제 대나라 여러와 대나시레 소아레스.
So this teaching of the accomplishing the Guru's wisdom mind, dispeller of all obstacles, this is taught to be like a treasury of a king, just in the same way that you can find basically whatever you would need, you'd be able to find in the king's treasury. In the same way, whatever kind of whatever you need, whatever practice you need, you'll be able to find it in this teaching.
Guru Rinpoche 사소 코르단 제바기 드니 샘진지 도된 제바라 드니 지르당기 도된 제바당 제다기 도된 제바니 요레스.
So within this set of deities, this mandala, there's 2 general categories of how the welfare of beings is accomplished. On the one hand, there is there are practices that accomplish the welfare of beings in a general way, and then on the other hand, there are practices that accomplish the welfare of beings in the more specific, particular ways. So now I'm going to explain the first of these, the general way to accomplish the welfare of beings that is taught.
네, 구름부치기 지당으로 된 데가 당고된데 손이요래. 내남 군기 토마르니 리진 체인 두바차 당보 테네 세바메기 두번 년년 지고 요레스 대인바 송장 구름부치기 토마 세바메 세마르 데 세마르 데 세바메 구름부치기 지올라 유쇼 구름부치기 지올라 테네 세바메 요레 세바메 도와 데 세바메레스 세마르
직접 간대로
내남 군기 토마르니 리진 체인 두바차스 내가 당고 뭐 주고 있나 당고 새롭게 제고 요레스.
So, and there's a verse in this teaching that says, at the beginning of your practice, the beginning of your activities in your practice, you should accomplish the long life and do this long life practice. So it means that first of all, we practice this form of red Amitayos, who is above, our head in this practice, as a means to accomplish our own benefit and to accomplish long life.
So
this practice of Amitayos is it can be described as accomplishing one's own welfare, and then in the process, or as a byproduct of that, in the process, accomplishing the welfare of others. So the way that this works is that first, our motivation is that we want to do the practice for the benefit of all sentient beings, to establish all sentient beings on the state of perfect awakening. And then when it comes to the way to do that, what we have to do in order to attain that goal is to practice the path. But when it comes to practicing the path, if we have a very short life, it will not be possible. It will be much more difficult to complete the path with a short lifespan.
갈대 체름부 여바이나 나랑서 냠내 유령부 제도거리스 냠내 유령부 제도바이나 냠내 탈친 도그레스 냠내 탈친 톱송아이나 선지 된지 도그레스 대인디 당부 체름부 고바디 개침보라 근데 개침보 임바 송장 구르른거지 내남 공기 통만 리진 체이 부버차 송이 좀 센데.
So what do we need to accomplish the path? If we need a long life, if we have a long life, then we'll be able to practice the Dharma for a long time, for a very extended period. And if we're able to practice the Dharma for a very extended period, for a very long time, then we will be able to complete the path. And then once we have completed the path, then we'll be able to carry out the welfare of beings, welfare of other beings. And this is why that a verse was taught in these teachings, which goes as follows. At the beginning of your practice, at the beginning of your activities, you should practice the awareness holder of a long life.
네, 된대기 처방에 있는 개바 처방이나 틀린가도 세마르스는 세마르기 있는 제를 네, 냐면 디바도 제나 틀린가도 단다. tukdrup barché künsel 아마른 스벤타이서 세미버지도 어디 아니 닥된 쪼르송 신된 쇼르도 봐.
So if you want to do this practice of the long life of Amitayas, there is a more extended practice of red Amitayas within the Tukdrup Barché Künsel. And then if you want to do a shorter version of the practice, then this practice is actually included in our sadhanas, like Achunle Ningbo and so on. With that practice is included when we recite the mantra of Amitayas Om Amana Jivantaye Soha. So this practice again is about mainly accomplishing your own welfare, and then in the process, as a byproduct or as a secondary product in the process, accomplishing the welfare of others. So the main point of this is that if we have a short lifespan, we will not really be able to practice Dharma to the fullest extent. So this is why this practice is taught. It is through this practice of the of amitayas that we will be able to gain a long lifespan. So now, after we have practiced amitayas, then we will have this long lifespan, and we'll be able to practice to the fullest extent that we can. And then after this point, we get to the next practice, which is or this is the point at which we can then carry out the welfare of others, after we have accomplished the welfare of ourselves with the long life practice. And so this comes to the next practice, which is the four-armed Avalokiteshvara here. And so this is conceived as the practice which is mainly for the benefit of others, that in the process, you accomplish your own benefit as well. So if you think about it, when we say I am practicing the Dharma for the purpose of establishing all sentient beings equal in extent to space, who have been my mothers on the precious level of complete awakening. We have this motivation to establish all sentient beings on the level of complete awakening. But if you think about it, we ourselves, as the one who is doing the practice, are included in all sentient beings. So this is how we can say that this practice is accomplishing our own welfare in the process, as a kind of on the side, as a byproduct. So for this practice of mainly accomplishing the welfare of others, and in the process also accomplishing one's own welfare, for a concise or shorter way to practice this, we have the recitation of Avalokiteshvara and the 6-syllable mantra Om Mani Padme Hum in our general sadhanas, the Trinity Ningbo and so on. And in addition to that, we have a more extensive practice you can do if you want to do this practice in a more extensive way, which is the stirring the lower realms from the depths, the Ngöndro, stirring the depths of the lower realms. And this is this mandala is depicted on a Tsakli painting that Pachter Rinpoche has put on online, the shown. Oh yeah, yeah. He put Paksha Rinpoche has made this new Tongha, and you can find that practice. You can find those deities there in that Tongha.
네, 숨바데 Guru Rinpoche 대가르스나 통보 나랑도 딱된 숙체와체, 현대 숙중화체, 이바데 현대 숙체와체, 딱된 숙중화체 아무데 초그레디 수요비스라고 지어래. 척시에다고 지어래. 다 당신님의 초니가 내년바체는 공부. 당신님에게 보낸 공부들은 Guru Rinpoche. 우리 낭수스는 대기념례레스.
So up to this point, we've done first the practice, which is mainly to accomplish our own welfare, and then in the process, also the welfare of others. And then we had the practice, which is mainly to accomplish the welfare of others, and then in the process, also accomplishing our own welfare. So these two are kind of, in a way, imbalance, or they're leaning to one side. Either both of those is leaning to one side in a way. So this is why we have the next practice here, which is Guru Rinpoche Nangsi Silnun, the overpowering existence form of Guru Rinpoche. And this is to accomplish our own benefit and others' benefit in a non-dual ways. Yeah, it's to accomplish both our own benefit, our own welfare, and others' benefit non-dually, without any kind of duality.
네, Guru Rinpoche 때문에 냠는 뒤바체바이나 Guru Rinpoche 장바레스, 냠는 예바체바이나 Guru Namru Juni 되고레스.
So again, we have a concise practice for this, which is just to practice Guru Rinpoche alone. And the way to practice this, and then again, also we have the extensive practice, and the way to practice it in an extensive way is to do the practice of the 12 manifestations.
네, 사조 대숨데 세바메 제레시 네 Guru Rinpoche 텔라 사조 대숨데 지단 기타 선진지로 된 제발에 다우드나 다우든 드루바 신든 드루바 니메드 드루바스.
So these are the three main deities of this practice. We have Amitayus, Avalokiteshvara, and Guru Rinpoche. So this is the practice for one's own welfare, for the welfare of others, and for the welfare of self and other without any duality.
선진지로 된 구르기 지형도 당보 딱 땡기고는 된 제발. 이바 신된지 권리도 된 제발. 숨바 다신 이메기 권리도 된 제발. 구르기도 된 데를 지금 그랬다.
So this is these are the general ways of accomplishing the welfare of sentient beings. The way that the Guru Rinpoche accomplish the welfare of sentient beings. First, mainly by accomplishing one's own welfare, and then mainly by accomplishing the welfare of others, and then by accomplishing the welfare of self and others in a non-dual way. This is how the welfare of sentient beings is accomplished in a general way.
네니바 다 제작의 권리 선진 된 제발라 도말 다 자위 동진 Guru Rinpoche 자위 동진
So now we get to the second kind of manner in which the welfare of beings is accomplished, which is in more specific or particular ways. So first of all, in this approach, we have the first manifestation, which is the Guru Gelwe Dungzin, the scion of the victorious ones, or the heir of the victorious ones.
네, Guru Jawi Dungzandi, Odi, Pema Jagore, Nambadi, Guru Jawi Dungzin Nangsmares, not Pema Jagos and Guru Senjan like Hazardous.
So as far as this Gelwe Dungzen is concerned, his actual nature is Peme Gyalpo, the Lotus King. That's his true nature. It's the Lotus King Peme Gyalpo, who is one of the 8 forms of Guru Rinpoche, another set of 8 forms. And well, his appearance is, as we see there, his appearance is as Gelwe Dungzen, or the scion of the victorious ones, but his true nature is actually Peme Gyalpo, the Lotus King, one of the 8 forms of Guru Rinpoche.
네, 자외 동전 되네 왕기사 왕두두게다.
So Gelwe Dungzen, the scion of the victorious ones, is a deity of we can call it magnetizing or enthralling. He does this kind of activity.
상아랑 저 생전지 두된 제발라 등에 당봉아랑 갈수고 니바 왕자 첨부지 고고 왕자 첨부지 매나 등에 생전지 두된 제도고.
So for us, in order for us to be able to carry out the welfare of sentient beings, to accomplish the welfare of sentient beings, we need some level of power, in fact, or magnetizing. Sometimes this term is translated as magnetizing, but also we can think about this power. If we don't have any power, we will not be able to accomplish the welfare of sentient beings.
그러나 결랑로 왕자 첨부지 매바이나 아니 결랑기 미션라 근데 내가 꼴나양 아니 미션기 얘기 말이야. 미션기 녀버 제발라 당보 결랑 왕자 첨부지 고.
But for example, if you want to have other people obey your command and do things that you need them to do, if you don't have this kind of power, then they will not listen to what you say, and they won't obey what you tell them to do.
그러나 나랑서 아니 미망 탑작다고 지나 테는가 미망 탑작이 칼라 근데 뱀보단 결보든지 이게 말아봐. 아니 온데 가르치고 되는 거죠. 나랑 결보다고 지고 나랑 결보다고 지는 신삼증이 깔는 인기로.
So for example, we can think about just an ordinary person, like a common person. If this common person tells a minister or a king, for example, to do something for him and tries to give them a kind of command or order like that, they're not going to obey his command, are they? What do we need to do in order to get this kind of powers? We need ourselves to become like the king. If we are a king, then whatever we command other people to do, they will do it.
근데 랑이 결보다고 왕자도 벌써발라 되네. 다 자외 동진. 네, 아니면은 지금 그래서.
So therefore, in order to acquire the kind of power that a king has, this kind of power that for example, a king would have, we practice this manifestation, the Gelwe Dungzen, the scion of the victorious ones.
대대는 남도 중이 다 당보되겠어. 그러니까 남도 중이는 단위바디 되네 마위생기.
So this that was the first of the 12 manifestations, and now we get to the second of the 12 manifestations, which is Mawe Senge, or the lion of philosophers, or the lion of philosophers.
마위생기데 되네 노디 아니 잠비양레스 남바디 마위생기 낭소레스.
So as for Mawe Senge, the lion of philosophers, his nature is in fact Manjushri. That is his true nature. but he appears in the form of Mawe Sengye, the Lion of Philosophers.
네, 다시 공도 계랑 되네. 결부터고 왕자 연나양 이나양 계랑라 켐바 계랑라 연된 근데 매바이나 양 미망기 뉴지 당그레스 먼저 결부들라니 연대면도 켐바면도 슬라그레스 근데 이 뉴지 당그레스 대뉴지도 받도록 차지도 안에 나죠. 마we sengye 되는 냠는 제국이요레스 마we sengye 되는 냠는 제바이나 되네 켐바가 연된 데서 게르그레스 제다 진이게 연된 데서 게르그레스.
So if we have practiced Gebet Dungzen, Sign of the Victorious One, and now we have some level of power, as I was describing, but we still, if we lack knowledge and these kind of qualities of education and knowledge, then people will not respect us and may look down on us. So this is the purpose of practicing Mawe Sengye, the Line of Philosophers, is to acquire the knowledge and the special qualities of education which consists of knowledge into the way that things are, the way that the nature of reality is, and also all the various phenomena in reality. This is the practice of Mawe Sengye for this purpose. So if we, even though we may have some power, and now we have some knowledge, now we need to accomplish to be able to gather all the circumstances that we need to practice. And this is why we practice the next manifestation, which is Kyechok Sulsang, the supreme man. This is the name in Tibetan is Kyechok Sulsang, the excellent supreme man, you can say, or maybe the supreme man with excellent discipline.
Kyechok Sulsang the Mode and Zambalares, number Kyechok Sulsang Mansores, Guru Zambala Inchi.
So in fact, the nature of the Kyechok Sulsang, the supreme one with excellent discipline, is his nature is actually Zambala, the deity Zambala, Guru Zambala, but Zambala is just appearing as Kyechok Sulsang.
계랑라 왕자 계랑라 캠바이나 계랑 땅보 시우지바이나 근데 담배 추주버 제발아야 굉장히 균노롱제 고구요래 균노롱제면나 근데 담배 저양 루트에 갈래 그거 자주 그래 근데 균노롱제 루트발아 제발아 근데 그렇게 저 소상스.
So the reason for this is that we may have the power now and the knowledge also. But honestly, we need some wealth and material circumstances. We need this kind of material wealth, in fact, in order to practice the Dharma well. So we need all of these conditions with the material wealth and so on. So this is why we have this practice of the Kyechok Sulsang.
남만남바 기전 담바대 조양이 선진이 되던 제발라니 시자 tukdrup 구구요래 대고월 제발라니 되는 곰바 구구요래 곰바 고월 제발라니 되는 된전지 주는 방지 구구요래 대미 된전지 주는 방지 매바이나 곰바 잡두고 말에 곰바 잡고는 시자단 두가서 용두고 말에 시자단 두가서 용마도는 되는 선진지 된 제도에 갈래 가고 착서를 했어.
So you can think about it, and this is one way to think about it. It's very clear that our gurus and these holy beings, the way that they maintain the Dharma is through the institutions of study and institutions of practice. And in order to have these institutions of study and practice, they have to have a monastery that will house these institutions, where these institutions can operate. And in order to have a monastery, they need actually material wealth to be able to build the monastery. If they don't have any material wealth, there's no way they can build a monastery. And if they are not able to build a monastery, they will not be able to operate these institutions of study and the institutions of practice. So this is why we need actually material wealth. So if you take somebody like myself, for example, as a teacher of the Dharma, teachers of the Dharma, we need to eat, we need to have clothes, and we need a place to stay, and so on. So in order to get all those things, then we need this material wealth in the Dharma. So this is what this practice is for, the practice of Kechok Suzan. So at this point, we may have power, and we may have knowledge and material wealth, but still we may come across obstacles on the path. There will be obstacles that will get in our way. And so in order to clear away those obstacles, we have the next manifestation, which is the Duki Shechen, the great killer of Mara. So as far as the great killer of Mara, Duki Shechen, actually his true nature is a Vajrakilaya. His nature is actually Vajrakilaya. And it is actually just Vajrakilaya appearing in the form of the great killer of Mara. So the reason for this the reason for this practice, that we have this practice, that anything we do actually in life, there is always the possibility of some obstacles or things that will harm us and get in our way. So in order to clear away those obstacles, we practice Duki Shechen, the great killer of Mara. So these four that I've just explained to you, these are called the inner manifestations, because in the mandala, they are arranged in the inner circuit, just directly surrounding Guru Rinpoche.
Nyamsulang, Nam Nyamsulang, Tini, Sanji Kubanto Chebala, Tini, Group, Zamling Gencho, Shebatres.
So now the next manifestation is the supreme ornament of the world, Zamling Genchok, the excellent ornament of the world. And this is for the purpose of practicing the path, traversing the path in order to attain the state of Buddhahood.
Nam Nyamsulang, Karsana, Tajukondo, Manzula, Wanja, Yore, Manzula, Kemba, Yore, and Manzula, Nor Longjo, Yore, Manzu Party Tamsu Dobare, Tanganzu Sangye Mareves, and Namdo Limres, Tatanda Sangye Chayo Mares, more Sangye in Nayantanda, Sangye Chayo, Fansor, Sangye Yang to the Chayo Mares, and Namata Pares. Then the Lam Nyamsulang Yores.
So at this point, we have attained power, knowledge, wealth, and we've been able to clear away, dispel our obstacles. But we may think, okay, now are we now enlightened? Are we now awakened? Have we now attained Buddhahood? But although we have the nature of Buddhahood, although Buddhahood is our nature, at this point, we have not attained Buddhahood, getting to this manifestation here. So in order to do that, we need to practice the path. And so this is the purpose of the Zamling Gencho, the supreme ornament of the world, this deity, this manifestation, is the we do his practice because we need to practice the path in stages in the proper order and so on. So this is what this practice allows us to do, what the Zamling Gencho practice allows us to do. And Zamling Gencho is true nature is in fact Yangdak Heruka. And that is the nature of Zamling Gencho, and he's just Yangdak Heruka is actually just appearing here in the form of Zamling Gencho, or the supreme ornament of the world. So, in brief, the practice of the supreme ornament of the world has been taught as a method to practice the path, to traverse the path in stages, step by step, to attain Buddhahood. And now the next one is Pema Chungne, the one whose source is a lotus, the one who's born from a lotus in the Pema Chungne. And this is the practice to attain Buddhahood without traversing step by step in stages, without traversing the path step by step and in stages. So Pema Chungne, the lotus born true nature is in fact the Pema Chungne lotus born, which is one of the 8 forms of Guru Rinpoche. And then he appears, that form of Guru Rinpoche appears in the as this form here, the lotus born Pema Chungne. It's the same.
냠nen데 라 데니 나서 냠nen 제목고 봐 나랑서 된다 통조 토조 렉톨 생도 대상아 배만 좀 얘기해 배만 좀 나한테 그거 잡아들래 했어.
So this practice of the Pema Chungne, or the lotus born, this is the method for attaining Buddhahood without needing to traverse the path in stages. So these various practices of liberation upon seeing and liberation upon tasting and so on. These are all part of this practice of the lotus-born Pema Chungne.
남라 때는 산지지 고마워 톱 남라 마디게 거는 산지지 고마워 톱살을 제라 근데 선진지 도된지 보고 이래 선지지 도된지 제비 틴레이 하데 네 구루 개발 바빠 생데스.
So now we have attained Buddhahood either stage by stage, step by step along the path, traversing the path in that way, or without having to practice the path step by step. But now we have to carry out the welfare of sentient beings. And to do that, then we have this practice of Keparpat Rigzin, the exalted awareness holder. I can translate his name as the exalted awareness holder, which is the deity. He represents the deity of enlightened activity.
Guru Keparpat 되네 사다 이제 탐지 왕도 되더라 공기 텔레를 꾸더라 된지지 사실에서 텔레가.
So this manifestation, this deity, is one who is able to bring any kind of a spirit or other deity, other divinity into his control, bring any kind of spirit or demon under his power, and he is then able to have them carry out his own activities, whatever activity he needs. He'll be able to get these beings to carry out these activities. So this is how he is a deity of enlightened activity.
dorna sa lo mila soba tamje tene shiwe gune dolor chabala tene Guru Keparpat res.
So in brief, this manifestation, this deity of the exalted awareness holder, is one who can bring any kind of divinity, a spirit, or naga, any type of spirit like that under his power, using peaceful methods.
야 한테 누가 째나 소바 한테 배 누가 님바 째나 소바 시베 미들와 된솔라 된을 다 초회 두고 소바라 드니 Guru 덕지 틀레 나서 res. 초회 두고.
So now for those spirits and the demons which are more fierce or unruly, more difficult to handle, for those we have the next manifestation, which is the Guru Dorje Trolle, and he is the one who can subjugate or bring under control different spirits or demons using a wrathful methods.
tene chawbe gone yang dolme toba 신도 두바진 된솔라 tene Guru 덕지 덕자. Yes.
And so then, if there for the beings and demons, spirits, and so on, who are extremely kind of unruly, extremely difficult to control, very fierce, which cannot be tamed by ordinary wrathful means, by the normal level of the wrathful means, then we have the this manifestation of Dorje Draktsel, Rigzen Dorje Draktsel, the awareness holder Vajra Wrath, who tames beings and the spirits and demons and so on by more wrathful means, by a highly wrathful or highly fierce methods. So, and in order to train the beings who are worthy vessels, who are able to practice properly and are able to be trained, we have the next manifestation, which is the leader of the fortunate, Kelden Genze. And he is actually represents the 8 Mahayoga Kapye deities, the 8 deities of the word, or the eight word deities. But mainly he is, in fact, Chemtrok Heruka among those 8. So yes, so then we have a whether it is in the context of our worldly life or the context of the Dharma practice, there are these demonic forces called the sea, and so it's for the purpose of taming and getting rid of the harm caused by these sea that we have our next manifestation, which is Raksha Turchang, the protector with the skull garland.
Guru symbol Guru Raksha Turchang.
Oh, and this manifestation of Raksha Turchang, the protector with the skull garland, he is a manifestation of the Guru in his of the Guru living on the island of demons, or the island of Rakshasas. So then for those who want to practice in a very swift way, to take a very swift path to attain the result, we have the final manifestation here, which is the Guru Decheng Gyalpo, the king of great bliss. So these 12 manifestations are the manifestations which carry out the welfare of beings in a specific or particular ways. So these are the 2 ways of carrying out the welfare of beings in the general way and this more specific particular way. And now whether we are carrying out the welfare of beings in either of those ways, whether we're doing it in a general way or in a specific way, we now have the dakas and the dakinis. And first we have the Vajra Daka and the Dakini. Yeah, so these these are the ways that we carry out the welfare of beings by the means of the 4 activities. So whether it's in the specific way or generally, we are going to carry out the welfare of beings using these 4 activities. And this first one, the Vajra, Daka, and Dakini, this enables us to carry out the welfare of beings using the awakened activity of the pacification or pacifying activity. As far as what this activity will pacify, it pacifies illnesses and evil influences or demonic influences and obstacles. And now for the way to carry out the welfare of beings by means of the increasing or enriching activity, we have the Daka and Dakini of the jewel family, the Ratna, Daka, and Dakini. So as far as what this activity will increase in order to carry out the welfare of beings, what it will increase is our life, or our lifespan and our health and our merit, and and also it will increase our wealth. So these 3 things will increase our life, our merit, and our wealth. And now for the deity of the awakened activity of magnetizing, we have the lotus Daka and Dakini, the Daka and Dakini of the lotus family. And what these deities will magnetize or bring under their power is the entirety of the 3 realms. They bring all the 3 realms under their power. And now for the wrathful awakened activity or the fierce awakened activity, we have the Daka and Dakini of the karma family. So as far as what the wrathful activity do they carry out, what they do is they destroy enemies and obstructors and pulverize them into dust. So this is teaching of the Tukdrup Barché Künsel. We can see now how it really is like the treasury of a king, like a king's treasury. If you want the power, then we have the power, the practice for power. If we want a knowledge, we have the practice for knowledge. If you want the wealth, it is there for. If you want to dispel or eliminate obstacles, it is there for you. This being the practices of the first 4 manifestations, the inner manifestation.
시외군의 틸레지 도된 전화 제도 적배군의 틸레지 도된 전화 제도
And then moving around the mandala, if you are a diligent person who can put a lot of effort into practice and to practice the path, then we have that practice there. And if we are more lazy and don't have this diligence, we also have the practice here in Tukdrup Barché Künsel for you. And if we want to carry out the welfare of sentient beings in a peaceful way, with the peaceful methods, that practice is there. And if you want to carry out the welfare of beings in a wrathful way, also that practice is there.
Sila soba parjena soba yoba yenaya tela dokta biyo ya ta lam rimbo doye kale kabo to lam thong thong la tene dogi isana tena la do yore.
And if you want to carry out the welfare of beings in an extremely wrathful manner, extremely fierce manner, that practice is there in that practice here in these teachings. And if you need the practices for this like a proper vessels of the teachings, that practice is here. If you need to subjugate these negative influences of the sea, then that practice is here also. And if you don't have the time or don't want to go down the path for a long time, we have this practice for the swift path, for accomplishing the path in a very swift way. And if you want to do a pacifying practice, that kind of practice is here in the accomplishing the Guru's wisdom by dispeller of obstacles. If you want to do a enriching or increasing practice, that practice is here. If you want to do the magnetizing practice, that practice is found here. And if you want to do the wrathful practice, that practice here too. We have all of the practices of all of the four enlightened activities. So in this way, the main part of the practice also is subsumed within this part of the title, Lame Tukdrup, accomplishing the Guru's wisdom mind. So if you remember, we have the preliminary practices and the main part of the practice. Actually, both of those are included in that part of the title, accomplishing the Guru's wisdom mind.
So then
the next part of the title is the dispeller of all obstacles. So once we have accomplished the Guru's wisdom mind, then in fact all of our obstacles will be dispelled by that. So I explained a little bit about this word obstacle last time, but to explain a little more, we can have three types of obstacles. So yeah, we can categorize obstacles into three types. There are outer obstacles which relate to the four elements, the four physical elements. And there are inner obstacles which relate to the channels and the winds, which is related to our afflictive emotions. Those are the inner obstacle. And then this third category of the secret obstacles, which consist of deluded concepts or mistaken thought, deluded thought. And so to clear these kinds of obstacles away, on the one hand, we have the one method of supplicating the Guru by means of the Barché prayer, the prayer which in English the title is Dispelling Obstacles on the Path, on the one hand, to clear away these kind of obstacles. And then on the other hand, we have the practice itself of doing the sadhana and the other practices of Tukdrup Barché Künsel, the dispeller of all obstacles. So we do have obstacles from the four elements, this category of the outer obstacles from the four material elements. There's a lot of this happening in our current time. We have obstacles from earth, obstacles related to water, related to fire, related to wind. And so to clear those away, we have the practice of the dispeller of all obstacles, accomplishing the Guru's wisdom mind, dispeller of all obstacles on the one hand, and then on the other hand, we have the method of supplicating the Guru using the supplication, dispelling obstacles on the path. And then we have our inner obstacles, because in our body we have the inner obstacles consisting of the elements of our body, the channels, winds, and the energies, or the energy drops. And it's independence on these elements of our subtle body, the channels, winds, and the energy drops, that afflictive emotions will arise in us. And then when these afflictive emotions arise in us, causes a obstacle. These will become obstacles on the path. And so we also have to clear away these obstacles. And as far as the third category of inner obstacles, we have these deluded thoughts or mistaken thoughts. So this refers to when we mistake something to be something that it is not. For example, the analogy that is given is that like mistaking a colored rope for a snake. When we see a colored rope, it's possible we take it as a snake when it in fact is not a snake. So we have a snake. So we have this this kind of mistaken conception, and what has happened is that we have not recognized the nature of mind or the nature of reality, and in this way we perceive things in a mistaken way. So for example, to continue with the analogy, when we mistake a colored rope for a snake, we will be very afraid. We will get this strong sense of fear just based on that mistake. So in the same way, by not recognizing the nature of reality, the nature of mind, we experience all kinds of suffering based on that mistake. So, for example, it's like when we are in the dark, when the sun has set and there's not much light out, and it's easy to mistake the appearance of things. So we may see a colored rope and mistake it for a snake and not really see it clearly and think that it's a snake, and then experience this kind of fear. So this is the analogy for our confusion. So in general, we clear away these obstacles in a general way. It's using the 12 manifestations. These 12 manifestations will clear away these kind of obstacles. But then when we get into the specific obstacles, we have specific deities for each of these kinds of obstacles. For the outer obstacles of the 4 material elements, we have the practice of Tara to dispel those obstacles. And for the inner obstacles of the channels, the winds, and the energies, we have the practice of Achala. And for the secret obstacles of mistaken thinking, we have the practice of Vajrapani. And then in addition, we have a practice that will clear away obscurations and these kind of stains, maybe more subtle stains. And for that, we have the Dutikaba, the Amrita Mewatekpa. And for that, we have Mewatekpa. This is the deity Mewatekpa.
Yes. That day and the Lame Tukdrup Barché Künsel Sayam Tetilayang, Drebu the Lamyang Shana Shachugures, Lame Tuk Sheba the Drebures, Drup Barché Künsel Shebati, the Lam Shagures.
So also
Barché Künsel, then Lame Tukdrup Yora, then Drebu Lam Shachugur, then Shachugur.
So we, in this first part of the title, or in this title also, we have the aspects of the result and the aspects of the path. Lame Tuk, the Guru's wisdom mind, that Guru's wisdom mind is actually the result of our practice. And Tukdrup Barché Künsel, the accomplishing and the dispelling all the obstacles, those parts of the title, accomplishing, dispeller of all obstacles, or accomplishing and dispelling all obstacles, that is the aspect of the path. So it's by accomplishing and practicing, and it's by dispelling all the obstacles, by using that path, that we gain the result, which is in fact the Guru's wisdom mind.
로기를 써봤더니 슈바니스 다른 게 뒤에 상대 조인서레스.
So now I have explained the words of the title here in terms of the form of the words, and also in terms of the meaning behind the words. And I have also taught you the history behind the text. And now I think our time is now up, so will be it for today.
Sonam Tsering Tomne Danam Barché Künsel Drupla Sonam Tsering